Hello, gorgeous ones. Dr. Lucy. Gosh, I'm looking a bit shiny today. I've just finished putting on my moisturiser. So I'm just pressing, a few things that come on the screen. We're talking this week about the blame game. Yesterday we talked about the idea that people, our society, when I use the word people, our society blames the individual for obesity when we know it is way more complicated than that. The underlying premise for many people is that people who are carrying too much weight are doing it because they're lazy and they eat poorly. And as I mentioned yesterday, that couldn't be further from the truth. And in fact, today I'm going to highlight why I know that is not true. So one of the things we know is that people who are storing too much fat on their body are judged, okay? We know that, okay? I would love that not to be true, and that's part of my crusade, if you like. Apart from my sort of crusade against the junk food industry, my crusade is to really recognize that people with obesity are marginalized. They are judged, they are criticized, and it's not right. Because what happens then is that particularly women more so than men, and I don't have any evidence of this is just my gut feeling, and I may be wrong. I'm perfectly happy to be wrong, but my gut feeling at this stage is that women are judged more harshly than men for carrying excess weight, and that what happens is that women work really hard to prove that they are worthy of the job or the friendship or the marriage or whatever it is, because we know that people with obesity are bullied, victim blamed, and judged. So it feels really hard. And the thing about that, I guess the thing that I really, really want to do is that it's not just society doing this, it's the person with the problem also doing this to themselves and sometimes to other people. And part of that is this whole self-loathing that comes with storing excess fat. And what I really want to do is take the emotion out. I know that it's hard. I would love to be able to say, don't worry about it. But that's so unhelpful. Isn't that term, don't worry about it, the most ridiculous term of all time? Because if you weren't, you could do that. And I think the idea that all people who are carrying excess body weight need to do is just eat less and move more is so simplistic. Because if it was that easy, wouldn't they have already done that? Of course so. Of course they would, because we know that nobody wants to carry. Nobody wakes up and thinks, you know what, I'd just love to carry 40 kilos of excess fat on my body. Nobody thinks that. Everybody would like to feel more healthy, okay? And people that say they don't care it's usually a defensive mechanism. So we know that at our core, but yet doctors, dietitians, health professionals will say to people, well, you could do with some weight loss, or you could lose a bit of weight, or you need to lose weight, but they don't give them the tools. So I guess one of the things I want to say, I've got one of those stupid banners again that pops up, is that you need the right tools to be able to lose weight, and the tools are not just what you eat. Again, if that's all it was, then a 2-week meal plan would work, because you could take that 2-week meal plan and put it on repeat for the rest of your life. So that, it's not that simple. But what the tools that you need, okay, are proper nutrition that addresses your actual needs, so your adequate protein, okay? So many people I see are protein deficient. Adequate protein, reduced carbs, and a reasonable amount of fat. That's kind of the basics. But the major tools that people need are the understanding of their psychology and why they have trouble implementing a plan they want to implement. Does that make sense? And that requires not a punitive approach, not an approach where you pop somebody on the scales each week and raise the eyebrows if nothing's happened. It requires an approach that is full of compassion, that is full of understanding, and that actually helps people with the tools they need. For somebody who can go low carb and just run with it, yay, good on you. But the people that we see are the ones that are blocked, that have all of this other stuff going on and that need ongoing support so that don't give up. Because you can imagine how hard it must be when someone says, well, just do this low carb. I did it and I lost 40 kilos. It's easy. And the other person sitting there going, well, I can't seem to do it. I must be useless. So this is the key, okay? So I would love to hear people's stories, if you feel like it, about what some of the techniques that you've used that you can share that help with this compassionate approach. There is buckets of evidence on the compassionate approach, but it is counterintuitive to the way that we've all grown up, going to Weight Watchers, doing restriction, and understanding that there are blocks in our life, absolute blocks. I saw a young girl yesterday who was insulin resistant. When I say young girl, she wasn't that young. She was younger than me. That's young. And we talked about low carb, la, la, la. Anyway, she came back a month later and she is angry with me. Angry because it's hard for her and this is really hard. And we had to do a lot of negotiating because in my old me would have gone, well, you do it this way. It's this way. That's it. If you don't do it that way, then, see you later. And now I've recognized over my years of experience that doesn't help her. That just ostracizes her or alienates her. We need to come and meet people where they're at. When we do that, slowly by slowly, people can transition into doing what works for them that is sustainable long term. And the majority of that is actually working with their mind. All right, lovely girls and boys. I know there's some guys watching. I'm looking out the window because I'm mindful that I've got to get to work. And I will see you tomorrow. Blaming. We're talking blame all this week. You know that I'm working up to a rant though. I'm working up to a rant on the junk food industry because that's my biggest. They are evil. But I've got a lot to say on that. All right, lovelies. Have a wonderful day. Be kind. Be compassionate. And my favourite saying to yourself: firm but fair. Okay? Because compassion doesn't mean, oh well, good. I'm being kind and compassionate to myself. I'm just going to eat 22 packets of Tim Tams. That's not kind. Firm but fair, kind, compassionate. Goodbye, lovelies.